Every child is unique, possessing their own collection of abilities and talents, which develop at their own pace. Nonetheless, many children follow more or less predictable patterns of growth, and common features may be observed in the ways that cognitions, feelings, and behaviors develop. This means we can build up a pattern of how many children develop. Typical development. While being aware that not everyone follows this pattern, atypical development. Dyspraxia, a type of atypical development, is a developmental disorder of the brain in children causing difficulties in activities requiring coordination and movement, physical, meaning it has to do with the body. Dyslexia, a learning issue that may involve difficulty reading. Dyscalculia is also a learning disorder that makes it hard to understand numbers and math concepts. Dyslexia and dyscalculia, though they most times coincide with each other, they are different. One is responsible for difficulty in math and the other deals with reading. However, in this video we will be focusing on dyslexia. Atypical development in the early childhood classroom by Candice Haywood. Atypical development is becoming more and more prevalent or recognized in our schools today. We are with time becoming more enlightened and aware of the different types of atypical development and how to deal with them to ensure that each child is able to excel and reach his or her fullest potential. The school environment plays an integral role in the development of these students. Hence, it is important for staff and students alike to be cognitive and understand how to handle and interact with these students. When a student is atypical, he or she has a learning disorder. They do not have a learning disability. Research has shown that some 70 to 80% of people with poor reading skills are likely to be dyslexic. 1 in 5 students, or 15 to 20% of the population, has a language-based learning disability. Dyslexia is the most common of the language-based learning disabilities. It is therefore incumbent on us teachers and parents to be aware of these statistics and to be as flexible as possible. As an early childhood practitioner, I will ensure that all my students, both typical and atypical, are given all the tools and necessary guidance needed to feel safe, welcome, and in the long run turn out to be good citizens in society. Every child is unique, possessing their own collection of abilities and talents which develop at their own pace. Nonetheless, many children follow more or less predictable patterns of growth, and common features may be observed in the ways that cognitions, feeling, and behaviors develop. This means we can build up a pattern of how many children develop typical development, while being aware that not everyone follows this pattern, atypical development. Dyspraxia is a developmental disorder of the brain in children causing difficulty in activities requiring coordination and movement. Dyslexia, a learning issue that mainly involves difficulty reading. Dyscalculia, a learning disorder that makes it hard to understand numbers and math concepts. Dyslexia and dyscalculia, though they most times coincide with each other, they are different. One is responsible for difficulty in math and the other deals with reading. However, in this video we will be focusing on dyslexia. There are different subtypes of dyslexia. There are acquired and developmental. Acquired meaning that we were born with this, and developmental meaning it is influenced by the environment around us. Developmental skills affected by dyspraxia include motor skills, which is writing, walking, getting dressed, and sports. Verbal dyspraxia affects children. Speech, and speech may be slurred or non-existent. Oral dyspraxia may cause problems with the movement of the mouth and tongue. Some symptoms of dyspraxia include gross motor skills, difficulty walking, prone to falling and accidents, inability to carry out tasks like dressing, holding objects, riding a bike, utensils, etc. According to cognitive development and of Piaget's 1936 theory of cognitive development, explained intelligence is not fixed and it does not just include biological makeup or nurture, but also includes interaction with the environment. Hence the reason if someone is dyslexic, that does not mean that that individual is handicapped. Cognitive development as it relates to dyspraxia states. Some dyslexics understand concepts quickly, some you will have to prompt, and some may be very slow. And of course, there are those who are in between those categories. According to emotional development, social emotional development involves experience, expression, and management of emotion and the ability to establish rewarding relationships with others. Coinge 2005. Empathy and prosocial behaviors. Empathy reflects on the social nature of emotion as it links the feelings of two or more people. Prosocial behaviors are things such as helping, sharing, comforting, and showing concern to others, according to Z. Waxler and others in 1992. Social development as it relates to dyslexia. Children with dyslexia are most times have a low self-esteem, according to Morgan's 1997 theory. The study of delinquent criminal dyslexic found when dyslexic children fail to keep up at school, their self-esteem drops as they begin to question their academic abilities, developing inferiority complexes. Low self-esteem may cause children to develop trust issues and poor judgment on who is really a friend. This can lead to children trusting too easily and being abused. Some diagnostic techniques using SVG as compared to the global. In St. Vincent, like every other CARICOM nation, a child is evaluated upon entering every learning institution at some point in the early childhood center. A child is evaluated upon entering every learning institution at some point. In the early childhood centers across the island, teachers are given curriculums to ensure that all students are on a similar level upon entering the primary system. Teachers are expected to report to the Ministry of Education at the end of every school year, and if an irregularity is picked up on a child leaving the early childhood center, that institution has the responsibility to report to the primary school that that child may be registered at in order to help the kindergarten properly prepare to handle this child. When dealing with dyslexia, one should be very aware of how to conduct an all-inclusive lesson. Meaning, teaching should be done using a program characterized by its multisensory, sequential, cumulative, and structured. This type of program should be executed in all subject areas. Intervention strategies. Every child is special with unique combination of abilities and needs that affect learning, and all children deserve the opportunity to learn in ways that make most of their strengths and help them overcome their weaknesses, according to UNICEF. Spend time evaluating children. If you pick up a trend, sit with the child's parent and find out if they notice the same things that you did. Please be polite when making suggestions. Teach children to love, respect, and be tolerant to persons who may not look or act the same as they do. Lanes 2014. Long-term effects of intervention strategies include acceptance if the person in the child's environment accepts the child's disorder. They will be able to properly handle and provide the necessary support needed for the child's development, and hence ensuring that the children's home environment is one that is nurturing and able to cater to all children's needs, that allows them to develop their fullest potential. Thank you. I hope that this was informative. My name is Candice Haywood. I am a Year 1 student enrolled in the Early Childhood Development and Family Studies program offered at the University of the West Indies Open Campus. This project, Atypical Development in the Early Childhood Classroom, has taught me a lot. I chose dyslexia. It has taught me that dyslexia does not only refer to persons who are slow, but a dyslexic person can also be very intelligent and perform at even higher standards than the typical student in the classroom. Two perfect examples of this are Albert Einstein, who invented the world's first light bulb, and Whoopi Goldberg, a world-renowned actor who has made quite a name for herself. I have learned how to go about planning and properly preparing an all-inclusive lesson that gives all students equal opportunities so that no one is left behind. Though dyslexia is a learning disorder, it is affected by both biological and environmental factors. Because dyslexia is not only biological, we in the environmental can help to make a positive impact in the lives of these children. We can make it if we try. Thank you for listening. I hope this video has been an informative one.